There are days when silence feels like a stranger, heavy, unfamiliar, filled with echoes of questions I am not ready to answer. But today, silence felt different. It sat beside me, like an old friend returning after many seasons apart, unchanged, patient, waiting for me to notice that I had changed instead. I walked along the quiet shore, where the sea whispered its secrets, not in words, but in rhythms, soft, steady, reassuring. Every wave seemed to carry away a layer of old sadness, old uncertainty, old versions of myself I no longer needed. How strange it is. That healing never announces itself. It arrives quietly, like dawn slipping into the sky. Before anyone realizes, the night is gone. Oh, you, who once occupied the tender corridors of my thoughts, your name passed through my mind today, not as a wound, but as a memory. And memories, when they no longer hurt, are simply stories we survived. I realized something simple, something soft. I am not waiting for you anymore. Not in anger, not in longing, not in grief, just not waiting. The world has grown wide again, offering paths I never saw. When I was looking only in your direction, I felt a calmness settle inside me. A calmness that said, you made it through. Not triumphantly, not dramatically, but quietly, gracefully, in your own time, and that is enough. The horizon stretched open, drawn in colors that felt hopeful, as if the universe was gently reminding me that endings are not punishments. They are invitations, invitations to rediscover what was lost, what was hidden, what was waiting. Oh, you, who once were the center of my nights, I thanked you silently today, not for the love, not for the pain, but for the lesson. You taught me that the heart does not break. To stay broken, it breaks. To make space, space for light, space for truth, space for someone more aligned with my journey. As I walked, the silence around me turned into guidance. It did not demand. It did not rush. It simply reminded me that I am allowed to begin again, allowed to breathe, allowed to feel, allowed to hope. And somewhere within that quiet, a new version of myself, stirred awake, unafraid, unattached, and ready. Ready for whatever comes next. Ready for the chapters I have yet to write. Ready for a future where my heart is not chasing, but choosing. I stood at the edge of the dunes, watching the wind sculpt patterns. On the desert floor, soft curves, shifting lines, a silent reminder that nothing stays the same and nothing is meant to. For a long time, I believed that healing would arrive like a sudden sunrise, bright, miraculous, undeniable. But now I understand that healing is a horizon. It moves as you move. It grows as you grow. Oh, you, who once lived in the quietest chambers of my heart, I felt your memory today, not as a pull, but as a gentle breeze, a reminder of what was, not a longing for what could be. How light the heart becomes when it stops negotiating with the past. I walk forward slowly. There comes a night when the heart speaks a language it once feared to understand, a language made not of longing, but of clarity. Tonight was that night. I sat beneath the open sky where the moon hung low, like a silent companion, listening to the quiet rhythm of my breathing. Nothing moved, nothing rushed. And for the first time in a long time, neither did I. Oh, you, who once flickered like a lantern in the narrow corridors of my heart, I felt your memory drift by, soft and harmless, like a leaf guided by the wind. Not a storm, not a wound, just a passing thing, A truth so simple came to me with surprising gentleness. I no longer search for you in the shadows of my silence. There was a time when your absence was a weight I carried without complaint, a familiar ache, a shape pressed into the softest part of my soul. But tonight, that shape finally dissolved, like sand slipping through open fingers. What remained was not emptiness, but room. Room for peace, room for possibility, room for the version of myself I hadn't yet met. The desert wind rose, threading coolness through my thoughts, as if reminding me that even the harshest landscapes know how to breathe. I closed my eyes and felt the quiet bloom inside me, a quiet so profound it felt like forgiveness. Not forgiveness for you never owed me anything, but forgiveness for myself, for holding on too long, for trying too hard, for believing that love needed to be a struggle, to be real. Tonight I learned that love does not vanish. It transforms. It becomes understanding. It becomes distance. It becomes a soft glow where a burning flame once lived. Oh, you who once taught me the architecture of yearning. Tonight you taught me the architecture of release. And in that release, I found a strange, quiet, unexpected freedom. A freedom that whispered, "Your heart belongs to you again." I opened my eyes and saw the path ahead, unmapped, unhurried, unburdened. A journey not away from you, but toward myself. And for the first time, that was enough. There comes a time when the heart no longer looks back with longing, only with understanding, not with pain, only with peace. Today, I felt that turning point. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was a quiet shift, like the moment dawn touches the horizon. Before anyone realizes, the night has ended. I walked through the open desert, where the wind moved gently across the sand, as if erasing old footsteps, old stories, old versions of who I once was. And for once, I did not try to hold on to anything the wind carried away. Oh, you who once lived in the most delicate corners of my soul. Your memory appeared today, not as a storm, but as a soft glow at the edge of my thoughts. There are days when the world feels wider than the questions inside your chest. Days when you finally understand that not every path needs to be known before you walk it. Today was one of those days. I wandered through a quiet valley where the dunes curved gently, like the softened memories I carry within me. The air was warm, the wind unhurried, as if everything around me had agreed to slow down so my heart could catch up with my soul. Oh, you who once held the map to my silence. I realized something today that loosened a knot I had carried for years. I no longer search for your shadow in my own light. Your absence, which once lived inside me like a heavy stone, now feels like an open space, a space where something new can breathe. There was a time when I believed healing meant forgetting, but now I understand. Healing means remembering. Without ache, it means looking back. Without bending, it means carrying the lesson, not the weight. As I walked, I felt a quiet courage rise within me, not the loud, heroic kind that conquers mountains with fists raised to the sky. No, this was a gentler courage, the kind that whispers, "You can start again." The kind that knows peace doesn't arrive all at once. It gathers slowly, like water filling a still pool, layer by calm layer. Oh, you whose memory once troubled my nights. Today your image passed across my thoughts and left no mark. Not because I erased you, but because I outgrew the place where the pain once lived. I looked ahead and saw a horizon more open, more inviting than any I have seen before, a horizon not shaped by expectation, but by possibility. And in that moment, I felt it again. That subtle shift, that quiet awakening. I am no longer defined by who I lost, but by who I am becoming. The wind brushed past me, like a gentle promise, carrying with it a freedom I had not felt in a long, long time. I breathed deeply, not to steady myself, but to embrace the peace slowly blooming within me. For the first time, the future did not intimidate me. It intrigued me. It welcomed me. It called to me with the soft certainty of a new beginning. I took another step, then another, not hesitant, not afraid, but grounded, present, awake, and in the quiet space between one heartbeat and the next, I understood something, Simi. There are moments in life when the heart pauses, not out of weakness, but out of recognition, as if it suddenly understands that the path it feared is the very path it now needs. Today, I felt that moment. I woke with a quiet clarity, a stillness so gentle, it almost felt like a prayer, the kind of peace that doesn't come from answers, but from finally accepting that not every question needs to be solved. For the first time, I looked at my own reflection. Without searching for the shadows of yesterday, I simply saw myself, unfiltered, untangled, unattached. Oh, you, who once shaped the rhythm of my nights, your memory passed through me like a star falling across the sky, bright, brief, and no longer mine to hold. How strange, how beautiful. When release arrives, not as a decision, but as a truth, the heart quietly grows into. I stepped outside, letting the breeze brush against me, a reminder that the world continues, in softness too, not only in storms. The horizon stretched wide, as if inviting me to choose something new, something untouched, something mine. And I realized this is what growth feels like. Walking forward without fear of losing what was never meant to stay. The old weight I once carried so carefully had dissolved, leaving space in its place. Space for peace, space for curiosity, space for the life. I had paused while waiting. Waiting for what? For closure? For return? For a version of love that no longer existed? No, I am done waiting. Today, I allowed myself to enjoy the quiet, to breathe without remembering, to feel without comparing, to dream without hesitation. And somewhere between the dunes, I heard a whisper, not from the wind, but from within. You survived. Now live. Oh, you, who taught me longing, today you taught me letting go, not through words, not through presence, but through the gentle truth that your chapter has already ended, and mine is just beginning. I walked further, each step lighter than the one before, until I finally felt it, the shift, a freedom so subtle, yet so complete, it made my heart hum with something close to joy. I am not the person who once stood in the shadow of what could have been. I am the person stepping into the light of what can be. And with that realization, a calm certainty settled in me. The future is wide, and I am ready. A symbol, not a weight. The heart changes in ways no one can see. It learns. It unlearns. It grows quietly, while the world thinks it is standing still. And today, my heart grew again. It whispered something I had never heard so clearly before. Your story didn't end. It simply changed direction. I paused, letting those words settle inside me, like seeds dropped gently into the earth, not forcing them to bloom, not rushing their growth, just trusting the process. I looked at the sky, vast, unbroken, painted with clouds drifting freely, without attachment, without destination. And I wondered, when did I forget that I too am allowed to drift, to